Yeah, so today we're going to walk through just like a brief overview of the Textile Network, what we're building, and then show a quick demo as to like how you can actually use the network. So basically what we've designed is like a initial version of the protocol, and in order to interact with the Textile Network, you can use this Basin tool. It's a CLI tool that lets you do a few different things. So you can see the various commands on the right-hand side, but you basically start by creating a vault that is like this container for data. You can stream data from existing Web2 infrastructure like a Postgres database or upload raw Parquet files. And over time, we'll add more support there. But basically, as you stream this data into this vault, it gets automatically replicated to Filecoin for cold storage via a deal that's being made using an EVM compatible or FEVM compatible smart contract on the back end. But so as you push this data, it gets replicated to Filecoin, and then there's also an optional like hot cache feature. So then you can retrieve data even in a shorter time frame, allowing you to have like this, full data availability layer with the Textile Network. And then in the future, we'll be adding a number of features around just like greater access control. We'll have like a theme of stateless or stateful vaults. So a stateless vault would be something like just purely fingerprinting via homomorphic hashes of all the data changes for that vault, or like the actual data availability piece where it's replicating to Filecoin, it's replicating maybe to a hot cache layer if you need that data within a TTL time frame. So it just like tries to cover that full provenance, verifiability, and data availability story in Web3 data. And then as far as the demo, we have one partner that we've been working with a lot just to like really drive some of the features. So WeatherXM has been pushing data to vaults. So what I'll show you is just, okay, like as they're the data producer in this scenario, what can a data consumer do? And since vaults are all publicly store data publicly, basically I can go and fetch the data via like an API or via CLI and actually run queries over that data. And just note that like everything that they're pushing the network is from devices that that are all across the WeatherXM network. So it's like this, fully decentralized stack in a way. So yeah, let's just dive into things. So on the right, you can see some like simple visualizations of the data, but I'll just talk through like the general project setup of like how I use the WeatherXM Basin information and built a Python script to actually run these queries. And just note like the jobs that I'm running are just with GitHub Actions, but I do want to move this to Bakahal in the future. So just keep that in mind.
Hey everyone, today we're going to walk through the Textile Network and Basin and how it's helping WeatherXM replicate data to cold storage, but also making that information accessible to external users. You can see the repo here shared in the deck as well for that source code, but basically what it does is run a job just through GitHub Actions that'll write data to a summary file, starting with like a CSV that stores every job, every run that it has with average and aggregate metrics. And then there's also a data file, really markdown file that stores like a snapshot of information across the data set. So you can see some of the various columns we have there, such as like temperature or wind information, device ID, some aggregate metrics over a specific query range, and then plots of information. And since there's only one run in this example, it shows a single plot, but you could imagine how that gets interesting over time. And just to give you an idea of what this information looks like throughout all of the different commands that we just showed, or the script itself, you can fetch those vaults associated with an account. So as noted, xmdata.p1, that's one of the vaults that WeatherXM is using to push data and replicate it to purely just cold storage, but we do have a hot cache feature that I'll touch on in a second. Once we have one of those vaults, we can fetch all the records associated with the vault. So this will give us each and every CID that is associated with files that have been uploaded and when you create a publication. But to describe how caching works, so when you
just since I only have 10 seconds, there's also like a caching feature too. So you can see in this view, when you create a publication or a vault, you can also set up a cache, so you have that high availability. But hopefully that covered things. Sorry to cut things short, but I was a little long there.